ridiculous like that. I'm sure. Like you can't chat with one another unless you pay money for it. Uh, anyways, yeah, I'll get us started. I'm already recording because it always has a lag. So hello and welcome to the all new, all different #1 comics podcast. Here's bonus episode. We are doing Batman City of Madness today. But first and foremost, we got Benny here. We got Nick. We got the whole crew. What's going on, guys? How the hell are both of you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, doing
I was
good.
gonna say don't all rush to speak at the same time, but there you go.
It's always weird because it's like, who goes first? Does Benny
Yeah.
go first, or do I go first?
Yeah.
Do you guys see it as Dan, Benny, and then me at the bottom?
Yes.
However that is.
Okay.
In my screen, I'm first. To the left, right? To the left.
Yeah.
Everything I own in a box to the left.
We'll go in clockwise speaking order. This is the teacher and me just being like, okay, we're just gonna like
There you
focus
go.
and have
I mean,
targeted.
I like it. Yeah, if you're like, you just wait to like make sure like one of us has our hand raised, and then you have to like call on us and everything. I think that's a.
Well, if you're the host, then you're the teacher, so you call
Oh
on.
well, fair enough. Okay, yeah, hands raised. You will not be called upon unless your hand is raised first. No. Anyways, okay. Well, fair enough. Benny, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just talking about some computer troubles, but I'm happy to be here for another episode.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on, even if it is on your phone. Screw it, who cares? Whatever. I have like I'm trying to think. This is like a 15-year-old MacBook, so I'm surprised that it even powers on. So at least there's that. Nick, welcome on. As always, how are you doing?
Doing great. It's a lazy Saturday for me. Gonna hang out, chill around the house, drink some coffee. Just got a cat. That's why I have like a little cat thing in the corner over here. Yeah,
That's
but
nice.
just got a cat, so it's hiding somewhere. But if it jumps up on my keyboard and like messes everything up, then I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll take an appearance of the cat on the podcast. Why the hell not? Yeah, super
Absolutely.
cool. That's a cool like little cat tree thing you've got. Or I say little. That's like a castle.
It's pretty big.
Is it a kitten or is it like a fully grown cat? Or
Oh no, it's a fully grown cat. I'm taking it from one of my coworkers because they don't want it. So I was like, I'll try it out, and if I don't like it, it's kind of like a rental program. it's like I'm gonna take it for 4 weeks, see how it works, and if it works well, then I'll keep it.
Cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, aside from pets, we've got Batman City of Madness. Now, this is like, dude, this is a crazy book. I was sitting here trying to write notes a little bit earlier. You know, I read the book like for the first time yesterday and I reread it today. And I thought I'd, try to make some notes and everything. This is like not even a book. Like, I mean, this is good. Like, I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but if I had to explain this to somebody else, like what I just read or something, like trying to recollect everything that happens in this book, and even just for notes, I was like, I'm not writing notes. We'll just organically sit here and talk about it because holy shit, there's a lot of ideas going on in this thing. This is crazy, but this is from Christian Ward or Ward, or I say Ward. I don't know how you guys say that, but
No idea.
are you guys familiar with Christian Ward's stuff? Either of you have any experience?
I think I've heard of the name, but I don't recognize what else he would have worked on. But
he kind of did like he does this, like he'll write and illustrate and color, so like the whole package. He's done an Aquaman miniseries. It's like Andromeda or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but like again, like very stylized, like this, like very. I can't think of this color palette, like what exactly you call it, but it's got a kind of got the same like vibe going on to it. He's done some artwork on the G. Willow Wilson Invisible Kingdom book, which is like top tier. Like if you've never read Invisible Kingdom, like top notch, like one of the greatest books ever. Really, really cool book. But yeah, dude's been around. Like he's done some stuff. Most of the stuff that I see him doing, like he's an illustrator for, but he's dipped into writing a little bit here and there, like I said, with the Aquaman book and stuff. But really, really cool. Again, like I think that it's becoming like a thing. I end up saying this phrase or word in every episode, but like very stylized, if that means anything to anybody. Like, it's not that stock like house art for any publisher or anything. Just really kind of has its own thing going on and a really unique perspective in the writing too.
The style almost pops out of the page at times.
Yeah. Really, really outstanding stuff. I do want to read the synopsis before we get into it, but it is like a hell of a synopsis. So, I mean, I guess get comfortable for a sec. But I'll go ahead and read it from DC site. Visionary creator Christian Ward unleashes a cosmic horror epic featuring the Court of Owls. Buried deep beneath Gotham City, there exists another Gotham. This Gotham below is a living nightmare populated by twisted mirrors of our Gotham citizens, fueled by their fear and hatred flowing down from above. For decades, the doorway between the cities has been sealed and heavily guarded by the Court of Owls. But now the door swings wide and the twisted version of the Dark Knight has escaped to trap and train a Robin of his own. Batman must form an uneasy alliance with the court and its deadly allies to stop him and to hold back, the wave of twisted supervillains. Nightmarish versions of his own nemesis, each one worse than the last. That's spilling into the streets. Sorry for my reading there. I will blame it on my glasses, but I'm also a bad reader, so there's that. But visionary writer-artist Christian Ward unleashes his cosmic horror take on Batman's world in tribute to disturbing Dark Knight classics like Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Gothic. You'll never look at Batman's villains the same way again. You simply won't have the stomach for it. So that's their synopsis. Pretty cool concept here. And like, I think I like the book a lot. I'll say that, but I'm more excited about like what they might bring in with some of the other villains and stuff from this like Gotham Below or whatever they're calling it. That part's really got me like mind blown. What did you guys think? I guess I will start with, instead of like breaking it down narratively or whatever, because like I said, that's going to be a huge swing. I don't think I'll be able to do it. But what did you guys think of the depiction of like Harvey Dent in this, the Two-Face depiction?
So right off the bat, I have to say this is honestly the best I've seen Two-Face, maybe ever.
Yeah.
It has a really, really distinct style with it. It has that very iconic setting with Two-Face where half of a room is really prim and proper and the other half is decaying and in ruins, just to match with his face. And his new bodyguards are kind of switched up. Usually they're just mimicked after how he looks, but now they're split down the middle like he is, and which is leading to a bit of infighting, which is very entertaining.
Yeah, I really loved that because you got like this, like you said, half the room in business suits or whatever, and then the other half like I don't know about you. I don't know about you, Nick, but like I always love it, being a kid of like the 90s and all of that. Whenever like the bad guys are like, kind of modeled after like punk rock people, like, the street punks from like the 80s and 90s where,
like they came straight out of the New York subway or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Leather jackets, Liberty spikes, all of that. I'm like, I love that thing. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I agree with you, Benny. This depiction of Two-Face, I think it's probably my favorite I've ever seen. I don't know if there's anything I can think of that tops it. It's really, really cool. Very visually awesome.
I think they did do. I like how that someone called him Mr. Half-Face. I think it was like he kidnapped. I loved everything was juxtaposed in the beginning. It was half the building is messed up, half of his goons are messed up, half of what was the other half? Oh, he kidnapped one half of a celebrity twin. Like I was like, whoa! Like everything is half. Like he kidnapped one half of a celebrity twins or whatever. I loved that. I loved how normal they made Two-Face seem. He didn't seem like some crazy like guy, even though like the art kind of reminds me of a little bit of like Arkham Asylum, like the old Batman book Arkham Asylum and Grant Morrison, and like the other half of his face is very like cartoony and like crazy. But I just loved how they depicted him, and the fact that he's like a sensible Two-Face and he's just trying to like, he's talking to Batman like he's like, hey, I didn't come here to like fight with you. I just wanted to call you in because we got something going on and it's bad for all of us. I love that.
He does it in a really interesting way as well, where he has to trick his bad side just to get a meeting with Batman. And I really love that internal conflict with himself, that he's always at odds with himself.
Yep.
Yeah, and aside from the art, because we'll get into it, but the art is just epic in this thing. But like, I really like the storytelling aspect that Christian Ward is doing here. It's like super unique, and he's like, it's almost like he's covering every single base. He wants to make sure, like, you know, if he was a screenwriter or whatever, like he's like, you're not poking any holes in my plot. Like there's no plot holes. Like everything makes sense. Like I've covered this on the back end. Like he's really doing a lot of that. Like really, really lifting a lot of weight here, which of course he is. I mean, he's illustrating and scripting the whole thing, but yeah, just super cool. Now we have Two-Face here, and like I think the synopsis kind of says, and I have heard an interview. I think I was listening to, it might have been AIPT Comics, that podcast. They did have him on to talk about this book like a couple of weeks back, I think. But you know, there will be other Gotham villains in here. There'll be other, like, you know, Batman rogues or whatever in this book that come up later. Of course, you know, to probably battle the, what's he called? Batman Below? Is that's what they call him in this? Yeah, which is a really cool name. Yeah, fits his vibe and everything. But is there anybody like you guys are like really hoping to see? I would love to hear you know, maybe like your top pick. Like we already got Harvey Dent, so you can leave that off the table. But you know, is there any other Batman rogues that you'd really, really love to see in this thing?
You know, that's an interesting question because like I didn't think about it. I didn't read the synopsis, so I didn't know like if this was just going to be like a Two-Face and Batman type of team up type of story. I didn't know that there was going to be other villains, but yeah, I'd have to think about that. I'm not exactly sure what I want to see.
I'm personally hoping for a Man-Bat scenario because I really think that Ward's depiction of him could be super killer and creepy.
Yeah.
Just like
I'm
with different Batmans running around.
Batman, Man-Bat. Yeah. And what about like the really stylized version of Batman that we're getting in the shadows there? Like with the, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, Todd McFarlane, lots of other people, you know, have done like the insane flowing cowl, you know, the cape, like that just goes on for 12 blocks or whatever. And the huge, you know, ears and everything. But, yeah, a Man-Bat, God, that could just be so, I don't know. I'm just like imagining like kind of grotesque and cool and like, you know, just feature some of that real bat imagery on there. That would be really cool. I'm kind of hoping, look, I'll say this, and I don't know how you guys are on this. Like, this is usually not like a popular opinion, so maybe like hot take alert or whatever, but like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Joker. I don't really like the Joker. I think like, I don't know.
What a hot take that is. Yeah, that's a really hot take.
I know, exactly.
The hottest of takes, I think.
Exactly. But I love to see, you know, them play with other Batman villains. I think there's a lot of really cool ones. One of my favorites, and there's no chance in hell he'll make it into the book, is Mr. Bloom. I think that's a really awesome character if you're familiar with the New 52 Mr. Bloom villain. But I don't know. I'd like to see Catwoman in here. I think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, I think it just kind of opens the door for like a lot of different, you know, characters to be in here and like a really different take on them. Since you know, essentially the I don't know, the doorway has been open for this Gotham Below to see kind of what comes out of it. So
I think it was mentioned in the synopsis, but they're kind of dark reflections of the city above, and I think Christian Ward will be able to really visualize what's going on in the headspace for a lot of his villains. Because if the first issue is showing us anything, it's that he's really good at depicting on panel kind of what's going on in the heads of people. In particular, Alfred stood out to me with how kind of morose and saddened he is just with everything that's going on at the moment.
Yeah, the Alfred thing was really cool. How about, you know, all that? Like, of course, I think in regular continuity, Alfred's dead or something. I don't know. Alfred's not there, but you know, to kind of go back, Alfred's like alive, like, you know, and doing pretty well and everything. But he's writing these letters every night and then he burns them so that way, you know, Bruce never reads them. They never get out. Nobody ever reads them. Just like a weird take on Alfred, but a really cool take, kind of somber, like it's got this weird tone to it. I don't know. He seems just kind of alone and kind of sad there.
It seems like the most realistic take of Alfred. Instead of being like so gung-ho about helping out Batman and being that wise older father figure, it seems like he's always at the house. It's the biggest house like in the world. apparently. Like, right?
Looks like it, yeah.
Like Bruce Wayne's mansion is like the biggest house, and he's just there by himself. And we did see Barbara Gordon, I think, in this. So I mean, people show up every now and then, but for the most part, like Alfred's never had like, well, maybe he has. I'm not like the biggest like people when people read Batman, they read like everything Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
Has Alfred ever had like a love interest?
I mean, I would imagine in all the 8 billion issues of Batman and Detective and all the spinoffs and everything, there's probably something. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that he's normally just alone.
Yeah, he's never.
He can certainly get it if he wants to.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah, if he hooked up like a Tinder profile or something, he'd be like.
But yeah, they just depict him how I would normally imagine someone who's like an older person looking out for like a younger person who's sad because Batman's sad. Like Batman's like he's just always distraught and always beating up people, and like he's taking out all of his frustrations on others. Like, and Alfred just has to help him because he has to be that older father figure, and it's kind of like wearing down on him. And I think, honestly, I think where this is going with Alfred is like kind of like not in a good. I don't think it's going well for Alfred. Like in the rest of the story, I can't see it going well for him.
I'm with you to kind
of. There's a part where he just talks about he's sinking down and down, and I think that near the end of this story, we're going to see a dark reflection of Alfred that Batman might even have to fight at some point.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm sensing something like that. Of course, like they're opening the book almost with this narrative from Alfred and these letters and everything, and like. Yeah, I mean, something's got to give. That's not there for no reason, of course. Like, not to just paint him as Batman's always out and he's always there alone or whatever. Like, I would imagine there's a little bit more to it, especially with all of the groundwork that Christian Ward is laying. Yeah, I can't wait to see some of that. I think again, this book is all over the place. If I had to recollect every single thing that happens in it, it's never going to happen. But a big point of this book, and maybe the purpose of it, I'm not too sure, but this Robin, this potential new Robin that the Batman Below takes, and I guess I'm assuming he's gonna take him off and go train him as his own Robin, and that's gonna work out however it works out or whatever. But you guys have any thoughts of this? Anything you're expecting to see? Anything you want to see, or just kind of see how it goes, or what?
I like the Robin aspect. It reminded me a little bit of Batman 89 that just came out. It was like a 5-issue where they continue the story of the Michael Keaton Batman. And it's kind of like inner city kid trying to look for some justice, looking for some retribution, and he becomes Robin. He becomes Michael Keaton's Robin. So it's kind of like the same type of situation going on. That was probably the thing that I didn't remember the most out of this book. Because it's like a Court of Owls book, which we haven't even talked about Court of Owls yet. But like the entire thing is based on the Court of Owls. It's straight out of Scott Snyder's run on Batman. So Talon, the version of Talon in this is like amazing.
Yeah,
sorry to get away from the Robin thing, but like that, if like the whole Talon thing, I loved the business aspect of the Court of Owls are like a business, and if someone disagrees with something that's going on with the business, they just take them out. I love how they called that guy. He was like talking to that one guy, and he's like, I've never seen this elevator before. When he was about to take him out, and he was calling him like a mouse. He's like, you don't go squeaking around like a mouse. He's like, I don't know if you know this, but owls eat mice. And I was like, oh yeah, that was so cool. So cool. I love his depiction of the Court of Owls.
Yeah, very cool and intense. Like, it's very this is like a violent book. There's some violence that goes on in this thing, especially with Talon and right there the Court of Owls, and then we have that later scene with, I don't know if is the Terrible Trio. Is that what their name is? The kids like with the animal face masks on.
Oh,
I think that's the name, right? Yeah,
I have no idea.
The name of their
I thought
I'm not
original, to be honest.
No, I'm pretty sure they're called the Terrible Trio or something like that. Terrible 3, something like that. But yeah, they've definitely made appearances throughout the DC universe a little bit here and there, but violent book. And one of the things that I love about DC Black Label is the fact that, and you'll have to excuse me for a second because, you know, I try not to like be too, I don't know, explicit or anything on this podcast, but whatever, you know, we're talking Black Label, so it's okay. But, you know, it's very violent. We can show somebody like get beheaded, you know, things like that. But like you can't say shit or something, like that's a problem. You know, you got to kind of block that out. So I always think that's funny when I'm reading these comics, and they've got to be censored in a way with the language. So they could be like uber violent, but it's like, hey, tone it down. Let's not have the F word in there or anything. But but yeah, just really, really cool. And I think Christian Ward is like pushing as hard as he can here. This isn't something that like we've never seen before. It's not like we've never seen like a really like messed up take of Batman, or like a different kind of Batman or whatever. Like all of that kind of thing, you know, has happened like a million times. But so I'm not going to sit here and try to say like this is the most groundbreaking book in the entire world or anything like that. Every Batman book is just a reinterpretation of Batman in some way, and some of the Batman villains in the story of Batman. That's all it is. That's all it's going to be. No one's going to reinvent the wheel on that, I don't think. But this is a really cool take and a really cool depiction in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have like any other, you know, favorites or anything this reminds you of. I know, Nick, you were talking about Arkham Asylum. This is like supposed to be kind of like the spiritual sequel to Arkham Asylum, Sirius or something Sirius.
Oh, a Sirius House on Sirius Earth or something like
that.
There
you go. Yeah, I think that's
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So somewhat of a sequel to that. Again, like not the same, but you know, like a spiritual sequel or something. But I don't know. Is this kind of standing on its own for you guys? Does this remind you of anything else?
This is pretty new to me style-wise. I am a huge fan of the high contrast colors with the kind of dark purples and blues with the bright and cutting oranges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I if we're going to talk about the art now, the art is, I honestly, when I was reading this, it all came to a climax for me when Talon meets the Batman below, like halfway through the book. It's like almost halfway through the book, and there's this big circle around, and it's just like reflections of what's going on. There's this big circle that's underneath Talon's hand that he gets hit with the Batarang. And that, when I saw that, I was like, this is next level art. That is one of the coolest panels I have seen in a very, very long time. And I've been so privileged to, every time I do a podcast on this thing, is when we read a book, there's always a panel that I'm like, wow, that panel like blows me away. Or like that, just the idea of that panel, like how he thought of it. I was like, that is one of the coolest things I have seen in a very long time.
The paneling was really interesting. At first, it seemed pretty typical and kind of house style, but as you flipped each page, it seemed to progress and get more interesting. Like Batman's shadow would blend into other panels and other silhouettes. And as I gotta agree with you there, that page with the Batman below and centered saying finally was definitely the standout panel in this comic.
Yeah, like, and there's like so many too. Like it's I agree with you. That is if we're you know announcing awards for best panel or best page or whatever, that takes the cake. But there's so many things in here that are just outstanding. Like, you know, the kind of Batman in the shadows and how that's flowing and everything. The Batthulu, the Cthulhu Batman, you know, the Lovecraftian Batman face, amazing looking here. Just some really, really outstanding art. And then that color palette that's going along with it. You just mentioned it a minute ago, like, you know, how the purples and the oranges and everything are like cutting through and all of that. And, you know, I think one of the things that I really want to say is, you know, aside from this depiction of the Batman below, because I think that that's probably my favorite thing in the entire world here. I think that it's really cool. It's really amazing. I I hope at some point we get some kind of explanation. You know, why does he have an octopus face? What's going on? Like, what is that, or Cthulhu face, or whatever? But I go back to Two-Face. You know, this depiction of Two-Face, this depiction of, you know, the sketchiness like over the other side of his face. You know, some of that's going on and everything. I love it. It's such a really, really cool look, and it's something that again, like I don't feel like I've ever seen before. Something very, very original, and it's like, it's capturing in the art what I think of when I think of Harvey Dent, like what's going on in his head or whatever. It's a very good visual representation of kind of, I don't know, his you know, multiple personalities that he has, or whatever he has, dissociative identity. I'm not sure what Harvey Dent has. I guess just, you know, some trauma from what happened, and then that turned into some kind of mental illness. But whatever's depicted there, it's just really, really wonderful the way that it's laid out here. So
yeah, and I just want to like point out Christian Ward's is basically storytelling through his art. Not only is he telling the story with words, but there's also another panel that really stood out to me where it was Batman was driving to Arkham, and it shows Arkham, but it shows the outline of Amadeus Arkham. I think it's Amadeus. Yeah, it's Amadeus. Amadeus Arkham, and it's the outline of his head, like Arkham was in his head because he's the guy who built it. And there's a red road leading to the red head. And I was like, man, like it's just like that right there. You didn't have to have any words.
Yeah,
you had words, but you know exactly what's going on. You know that some guy had this idea of a place, and he literally just told us through the panels in the art that that's exactly what Batman was going to, and that's exactly why Arkham was built. It's crazy to me. Like, it's insane.
One tiny detail I picked up on a reread is that a lot of the time Harvey's kind of popped out stylized eye is looking in a different direction from his other eye, which
well, that's cool.
really
I didn't pick that up. Awesome.
Which really sent us home the split between them. And there's another moment where they're approached by someone else who we are definitely going to talk about. And they both say the same thing, but in separate speech bubbles, which is really neat.
Oh, wait, which part are you talking about?
When I'm not sure what to call him, but we should get into it. When the other Two-Face appears to talk to him, he questions who he is, and it's two separate speech bubbles coming out of Two-Face.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick that up. Is that the panel where he's split, like on one side it's the half of his face, the other side it's the really crazy stylized, and in the middle of them is Batman?
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Benny. I know exactly what you're talking about now. It was at the end. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
the very end.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Benny. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. But speaking of, what about that other Two-Face with the scared bottom half?
Yeah, that's what you're talking. I was like, wait a second. That's another thing that happened in this book.
Exactly. It's
so much happened.
Yeah, you could talk about this book for hours, you know, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, that happened! Oh my god!" There's so much going on here. So many ideas. I will say this. I love this. I think that it's really, really cool, and I like it a lot. This could have been split in half for me. That would have definitely helped out a little bit. But I do like it. I'm not dissing it or anything. I know a lot of times, especially whenever they're coming out with like a 3 or 4 part or something, they like to really jam pack that first issue. And actually, I come to think of it, I think most Black Label books are like double size issues anyway, from what I remember. But yeah, there is a lot in here to try to remember.
So this is Benny. Do you think that this Two-Face is something that came out of the portal from the below, or do you think that this is that what you think?
I think that's for sure his dark reflection, or maybe not dark, because it seems like it does want to help out, but it's hard to tell with Harvey how well he's going to, where his intentions lie, because he's, I mean, very hard to get a beat on where his head's at.
Right. Yeah, because now you have 4 faces.
Yeah. Too many faces.
It's too many. Maybe that's what they should call them in this book. They should call them too many faces.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot. But yeah, I'm glad you picked that up, Benny, because that's not something, I mean, I read it and I, comprehended, but yeah, now that you're pointing that out, yeah, that's like a whole nother layer there that I wasn't even, really thinking about. So really cool. And that just kind of proves it. This is so densely packed. Like, this is definitely worth like a second, a third read, whatever, to like really kind of take all of it in. Maybe even just a read where you ignore the dialogue and just like flip through and look at the art or something too, because there's so much. I feel like, at least for me, like it did suffer from that. Like, there's so much jam packed in here that I wanted to be able to appreciate the art a little bit more. And I was like kind of caught up, like I need to read what's going on. I need to make sure I understand the story well or whatever. But I would have loved like a few more panels or a few more pages with like a little bit less dialogue. I know they had to get the story out that they got, but yeah, I'd be able to appreciate this art a little bit more because it's just really outstanding, really, really good stuff.
Yeah. If I was a frugal man, which I am,
yeah,
I want as much stuff in a book for my dollars. You know what I mean? And Christian Ward has awarded me with some of the coolest panels and some of the most interesting takes on the characters that I've read in recent memory, at least. Besides, like, I forgot who wrote it, but there was another one where, oh man, it was so demented too. It was a different Batman book. It was by some guy who was super like, and it was by, I think, the guy who did Arkham Asylum with the crazy dark artistry and illustrations. Besides that, which was an interesting take, I forgot what it was called, but oh well, it slipped my mind. But I want as much jam packed into a comic as possible, and this is totally delivered. So I thank Christian Ward for giving me my money's worth.
Yeah, you got it here. This was what I think a $6.99 cover price, I believe. Yeah, worth every penny of that. I mean, this is definitely like a, at the very least, like, worth like a $10 book all day. Like, there's so much in here, so many ideas and so much to go through. I don't think that again, like at the top of this, like I said, like I don't think I would be able to like properly like narratively like break this down or anything. So I'm gonna leave that off the table and kind of like, we've said what we said about the book. I would like to ask you guys, I would like to ask you, aside from that panel, that you pointed out earlier with the circle and everything. Is there anything else in there that just really stood out to you guys in, art wise? I'm looking at a panel right now. I think that I'm looking at it digitally, so I believe it's a full page, but it's the Batthulu, the Batman Below, and he's got the beheaded member of the terrible trio there, the shark head, and he's kind of got it like, towards his mouth, and his dialogue balloon says, "He can't hurt you now, child." And there's blood everywhere, and it's just insane. I think that is probably, for me, the coolest panel I've seen in a Batman book in a very, very long time. Anything else art-wise that stood out to you guys?
The whole terrible trio, how the animal heads were depicted so violent and vitriolic. They were, it seemed like a lot of the animal personality actually bled into theirs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. It definitely really, really cool how he did that and made it look like, less of that mask thing and more of, that was kind of what's going on with him. Yeah, I like that a lot too.
I liked the panels where the boy who will maybe become a Robin Below. Yep. I like maybe he will. I liked when he was in that city, and it was very Blade Runner. Very neon lights everywhere and very dark and blue, and he's looking for the guy who killed his dad, and then it goes into the flashback, and the flashback is just sketches and green watercolor, and I was like, because that's how we see what's going on in his head from a time past. I liked that, and then it just goes straight into the it like fades away from the watercolor and from the sketches and goes back into the regular art. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, he's coming out of the memory and he's looking for that guy. I really liked that a lot. There's literally every panel I could probably talk about it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. We didn't even talk about how Talon got his arm cut off by Batman Below, and then at the end he's like just some big hunking dude like at the end where they're remaking him. They're like remaking the Talon to be like a better version or something, which would be kind of cool.
Just insane. Again, like how dense this book is, how much is in here. So then I guess, you know, kind of the last thing that I want to talk about is that cliffhanger that we're leaving on. Not really a cliffhanger, but you know, we got the Batman Below, and he's got the Robin in his arms, or the potential Robin, hopefully, and he's carrying him off, and of course that final word balloon says he means to make a Robin out of him. Batman Below has the boy, and he means to make a Robin out of him. So is that enough to draw you guys in? Do you guys are you interested in picking up issue number 2 of this book?
So I got a bit of a crackpot theory that does have me really interested in picking up more.
I love the crackpot theory, so please.
Let's hear the
I think that this kid who is kind of being groomed by the Batman Below to be the new Robin is actually going to turn into a new Anarchy. I'm guessing some of this from he seems very, very angry with the whole kind of system of Gotham right now. Just seeing it and going down the streets, he's offered drugs and illicit services from somebody who also wants him to be a Robin. He has that classic red hoodie, and it's filled with so much rage and vengeance that I think that the Batman Below is going to try to make him a Robin, but there's no way he can succeed, and it's going to screw this kid up worse than he's already been screwed up, and he's just going to break into something and try and change the city in a probably violent way.
I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I really like that. I don't even know if that's pretty eye opening. That's probably not even a crackpot theory.
That's like a great theory. That's I don't even think that's crackpotish at all. I think that's probably might be happening. I think it's because the red hoodie thing, right?
There was also right after it. There was the word anarchy just in bolds when one of the Court of Owls mentioned it. That might be me reaching, but I am going to check out the other books just in hopes that my theory comes true.
Yeah, I can say this, you know, if Christian Ward's out there listening, you know, if that's not what he's going to do, then he's going to create another spin-off series just to turn that Robin into Anarchy instead. So
get Christian Ward on here and take our ideas. I mean, Benny's ideas, not my idea.
Benny, you'll get credit. Don't worry.
Yeah, you'll get credit, Benny.
In the back of the book, but
next time we'll be like, "Who's Benny? We came up with that."
That was
no last name. No last name.
If that theory works, that's perfect. I actually like the idea that Two-Face is so the Batman villains have never been able to get rid of the Batman, right? I do like the idea that Two-Face might be using. So when we said that Two-Face's sane self is using the messed up self in order to get Batman to come, maybe the messed up Two-Face is actually using regular Two-Face to get Batman to be destroyed by the Batman Below. So that's why he's getting Batman to try and get rid of this Batman Below in order to get rid of the Batman. I mean, that would be an easy way, right? Especially if this Batman Below has no rules, he doesn't care. He's some crazy creature. It's like, if we can't do it as villains, we got to get someone else to do it. So let's get Batman to follow that guy.
I like the idea of manipulating somebody who thinks they're manipulating you, and when it's the same person, that's wild.
Yeah, it's a chess move within himself.
How he needs a therapist.
And now we have 4 faces, so now it's like really a head scratcher. Like, is this Two-Face manipulating the other Two Faces crazy self?
Do you charge them per personality, or?
God, then that therapist is making some money. So Oh God. Yeah. Well, look.
Oh yeah,
I'll
and by
go.
the way, I would totally get the next issue if that's what you were asking. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. And
For the art
you
alone.
know, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to be picking up the second issue of this. Is really, really good. I really want to see where it's going. I hope that that it's a little less dense. I hope they just start explaining a little bit more and introducing a little bit less. But either way, if nothing else, just to look at the Cthulhu here, I'm really into that. So really, really cool character design and all of that. Really great artwork. But yeah, I think that answers the question then. Very positive from all three of us. We all enjoyed the book, and we all plan to continue on to the second issue. And yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Batman City of Madness, issue number 1.
We've run into the same problem where we don't have much bad to say about a new book.
And it always sucks whenever you don't have anything bad to say. It's hard. You think that it would be very easy to critique something. I mean, how many times do you read a book, a new comic book, and there's things that were good, there's things that were bad, there was left turns that you weren't really expecting to take and you didn't want to take or whatever. But this doesn't really have any of that. It's just again, for me, it's a little dense, but I can definitely forgive that for everything that it has positive going for it. Yeah, that's really the only bad thing I can say about it. So a really good problem to have. Hell yeah, Christian Ward, keep it up. Let's keep this thing going. Very, very awesome. Yeah, and I guess that's all I have left to say about it. Unless you guys got anything else, please, or anything else you guys want to say, then come on.
Go enjoy the artwork in person. This is a phenomenal book, and you will not regret buying it.
Yeah, completely agreed.
Absolutely agree. Can't wait to read the second issue.
Yeah, likewise. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you, audience, so much. This has been the all new, all different #1 comics podcast. Bonus episode on Batman City of Madness. You know where to find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of the usual places. And to use the hashtag all new, all different nation if you want me to send you a copy of this beautiful, beautiful Christian Ward Batman book. All you have to do is use the hashtag all new, all different nation on social media post of your choice to be entered in the giveaway. And thank you guys so much. See you next time.
See ya.
If I can find the